Forever to start. There we go. Hey, what's up, phone lovers? Welcome to the Mobile Roar Podcast for the week of March 9th, 2017. I'm Joe Fidua.
I am Chris Chavez.
And I'm Ashley King.
Welcome back. Woody the Woodpecker, everybody.
Oh, you did that before we went live.
Do it again. Do your very best. Do your very best, Chris.
I'm not a court jester.
So, Chris, how was your trip to Barcelona?
Yeah, tell us about
it. It was very exhausting, I guess you could say. I normally don't get jet lag, and I think because I was bragging about it last time we were on the podcast, it hit me like a ton of bricks.
So, karma got you.
Yeah, I don't know what was up, but yeah, it was awful. I'm still trying to get back on schedule, and it's like the weirdest thing now. But other than that, we took a look at some cool phones, I guess. There was the LG G6.
Yeah, was it? I mean, before we get into the like individual phones, was it a pretty good show overall? Like, did you feel like it was worth being there? A lot of good new stuff, or was it kind of a down show?
I feel like it was very focused this time around. Like even like the HTC Ultra and stuff we've seen, like it was announced before, but it was the first time seeing it there. But like now we had like, I think it was Nick that was so well organized. It was awesome. So we had like a very clear cut, just like plan of action. We're gonna go here, do this, and like it was all scheduled nicely in our little calendar, and it was cool. So it felt very focused, I guess you can say. I do wish I had a little bit of downtime before I arrived. I mean, like as soon as I arrived, I had like 4 hours to sleep, and then there was the BlackBerry event, and it was just like, gosh dang it. So that was a little hard to adjust to. And then I had to leave. I think the last day I had to take off, so I couldn't even go to the last day. But other than that, it was fun. There was actually lots of cool stuff to take a look at. I didn't think there would be with Samsung missing and all.
Yeah.
But I think with Samsung there, it would have probably been just a little, maybe even overwhelming. Yeah, a little too much. So
they were there, but not with like phones.
Yeah, they just had the Tab.
Yeah, the Tab S3 or something.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, I know the phone that me and Ashley are probably looking forward to hear about. Talk about the G6, Chris.
G6 was announced after tons and tons of leaks. So it wasn't really too much of a surprise there, but it's, got that big old gorgeous display, minimal bezels, rounded corners, which are kind of odd. It's a good phone. I guess my first impressions of it when I picked it up was just that it felt a little bit on the cheap side.
Yeah, you say that about LG phones every year.
Yes, yeah.
I think it's because when you pick it up, it's so surprisingly light. And then I don't know why I do this, but I tap the phone and it just feels kind of hollow. I think because the chassis inside might be plastic and they surround it with metal on the outside, whereas a lot of these other phones have like these like strong aluminum or metal insides. So that was a little bit weird. The back, how the back has like a glass on it. I think it's Gorilla Glass something or other. 5, I believe. I think it's Gorilla Glass 5 on the back, but it's very thin. So it's kind of like I don't know how to explain it, but it almost feels like a plastic screen protector on the back. And so much so that when we talk to all these other bloggers and people, YouTubers and whatnot, some people were convinced that it was plastic, and Nick was convinced. He was like, no, I'm pretty sure it's plastic on the back. And I had him do a knife test. I was like, no, it's glass. Go ahead and get a knife.
You did a knife test?
So he got a knife and was like stabbing it and scratching it and doing all this stuff, and it wouldn't scratch. So it was definitely glass in the back. So
that's good to know.
But I mean, it feels like some kind of weird plastic. So I feel like it's weird because LG is like, hey, we made this all metal phone. Now we're gonna put this weird kind of a cheap like feeling glass over the back. Like they can never just get it right. But other than that, the phone was pretty great. The speed was there. Scroll lag, awesome. The display is great. The camera's awesome. There's so much to love about the phone, I feel like. But there are these little weird nitpicking details and things like that, like the weird glass back and the rounded corners kind of bother me. Nick pointed it out, and once he did, gosh, dang it, it like drove me insane. But like the way they're curved, it's like it goes up or it goes like flat on top and then it does like a curve, and then there's these weird 2 pixels that are like out of the curve almost, because it's like the pixels themselves are curved, like it just looks weird on the corners. And it, once he pointed that out, he's like, does that look like the pixels are off? And I was just like, gosh dang it, that's all I can see. But other than that, I mean, the 18 by 9 display is nice.
Yeah, someone asked about that in the comments.
Long.
The 18:9 ratio, or 2:1 if you're a math fan.
Yeah, like you got to bring the denominator. I don't know, whatever the math stuff is. But it's interesting. It was really funny to listen to LG kind of sort of like justify it, I guess, during their little announcement. They brought out some dude who was talking about like cinema and like how this is like the perfect ratio and like the Pythagorean theorem and all these weird things.
They used math to justify it.
It was just exactly, and I'm like,
so it was like that GIF of the like math equations going in front of your face.
Yeah, that's exactly what I saw, and I'm like, okay, and then it was really really odd. Not odd, but just it was just funny because they usually do that whenever someone brings out a new feature that people are kind of like, it's just there because it looks cool. Like, and these manufacturers are like, we brought out a specialist who studies like weird math equations, and it's just like, okay, whatever, we get it.
It's so true. I would love for someone to just be like, yeah, we did it like this because it looks awesome,
because it looks badass. Yeah. I know somebody was mentioning before on the podcast, they asked a question. I think it was Alan Urista, but he was saying how if the 18 by 9 is going to put the little black bars on the sides when you watch some YouTube videos, well, most YouTube videos, and yeah, it does. That can be a little bit weird, I guess, but there are some YouTubers though that shoot an 18 by 9. A shout out goes to what's his name, Ash Taylor. If you guys have seen his stuff, Ash Taylor shoots an 18 by 9, so his videos look perfect. But MKBHD's got the big old black lines on the side, and then Ash Taylor's look awesome because Ash Taylor's kind of like a film student, so I don't know, his aspect ratio is a lot different, and they're like more cinematic, I guess. And it was awesome because we were like, let's pull up his videos, and it was just perfectly on the LG G6. So that was a little fun. And then me and Nick went around town and we, took a bunch of comparison photos, and I think Nick posted that a couple days ago. But the camera is surprisingly good. The whole, like, all this talk about HDR stuff, they pretty much nailed it.
Why is it surprising that it's good? I would have expected it to be good. Because the G5's camera is really good, and the V20's camera is really good.
I feel like I've been spoiled by the Pixel, so at this point, I feel like nobody can even match it or get close to it because of the whole HDR plus thing, and it does all that weird, post-processing stuff. But the HDR stuff with the camera on the G6 is really cool. There was a nighttime shot like outside our apartment. And it was like pitch black, just like you can't see anything. Maybe like a slight glow of the moon, and it was just like the lights of like the little apartments. And we took a picture with like the Pixel, and the Pixel's always kind of a bit underexposed, so it was just pure black, and then you could maybe see the lights. But with the G6, you take the picture, and you could still see all the details that were in like the darkness. Like, it was crazy. It was pretty nice. The camera's not perfect though. I mean, it doesn't beat the Pixel in every regard, but there are times when it does, and it's cool. And the wide angle was just perfect when you're traveling and trying to get like cathedrals and capture the whole environment and everything. And it's a cool phone. I'm super excited for it. I think that's probably the coolest part, is the little wide angle lens thing. It's great.
So Ashley, are you still hyped about it after you've seen it a little bit more?
Yeah, because I know Chris's nitpicks are not my nitpicks, because Chris is like, he picks the tiny, like the pixels on the round thing.
Wait till you see the pixel.
We'll see.
Yeah, Chris's review is going to be like 5 out of 10. There's 2 pixels in the corner.
Knocking a whole star. It drives me a little bit crazy. And that wasn't even, I didn't even notice it right away. It was mostly Nick, so you can blame him. Don't blame me.
Yeah, it looks good from everything that I've seen. So I'm still pretty excited. It's going to be really hard for me to like go with the Galaxy S8 just because I've seen people have been talking about it on Twitter again recently about how Samsung lags over time.
Yes, that's the biggest reason why I don't get Samsung phones is because after a year, they get laggy.
And it totally happens because literally just like last week or the week before, my wife has been using a Galaxy S7 Edge for pretty much since it came out, and she's been complaining about her phone being like horrible battery life, super slow. Like Pokemon Go doesn't play well on it at all. And
gosh, yeah.
So I did like a factory reset on it for her, and now it's like fast again. So it totally happens.
Yeah, it's just a weird. I don't know what it just gets backed up. It needs some fiber or something. It's just it's weird. And mine's the same way. That since I updated to NuGet, I probably should just factory reset it. But I mean, I click Hangouts and I have to I can count the seconds it takes to load up and like load up a conversation. It's just like, what is happening to this phone? Awful.
All right. So there are a bunch of other phones at MWC. There were the Sony Xperia phones.
Don't even get me started on those.
They look so similar. The names are all similar. Like we literally did a video where I edited it for Chris and Nick, and they accidentally labeled one of the phones wrong in like the videos they sent me. So it was like the wrong phone in the video, but it looked so similar that like most people didn't even notice.
Yeah, nobody can notice. I mean, you would be like, it would take a detective. It would take somebody from Sony to be like, oh no, this one's different because
like me and Nick were talking about it. We're literally like going through these pictures, looking at like the little dot or like the ambient light sensors and like the speaker grill. Like
that's the detail you have to look at. Wow,
I think it's this phone because look at this little thing right here. And it's like, oh my god,
it's really bad. Yeah, but they do have some cool features. I couldn't tell you the names of the stupid XSA.
Well, the best one is supposed to be the XZ Premium.
XZ Premium. Yeah, that's the good one. That's the shiny one, which was really hard to photograph because it was so shiny. But that one was nice. It's got and everyone's like, well, if they can do a Snapdragon 835 processor, why can't LG? And it's because LG is coming out like in the next couple of weeks, and these phones aren't coming out way later in the year. So we tried that new 960 frames per second slow-mo, and that was really, really cool. It didn't look so hot. I know Nick trashed it a lot in his video. It didn't look so hot because indoors you don't really have enough lighting, but if you were to go outside and you have a brightly lit sunlit environment, it would look a lot cleaner.
But yeah, people don't realize when you do slow motion, you need a lot of light.
A lot of it. And it was just cool. It was cool watching the demo. And it looks better on the phones than I guess it does on your computer. But like, I mean, the little propeller of the little model airplane was going around and then it just slows down like the Matrix or something. And it's just, you could see the little, like the individual propellers moving. So it was great. It was really fun. But there are some weird limitations to that. Like it's only one second. Where normal slow-mo captures the entire thing and you can adjust where you want the slow-mo to slow down. This one is it's like 1 second. So somewhere in the middle, it's just 1 second of slow-mo. So that's kind of a little bit weird, but still very cool. 960 frames per second. It's nice. And the phones, they looked great. They looked like regular Sony phones.
Yeah, they're Sony phones. They were probably never gonna see them.
It's a little bit, I guess, jarring now because now that you've seen all the leaks of the Galaxy S8 and the LG G6, a lot of these phones look super dated now, especially Sony's because they've always had these huge, thick bezels. And that seems to be an area of design they're not even like focused on whatsoever. So they've never really shrunk. I feel like Sony's phones have always had these huge bezels and they're not really trying to like bring down the size a little bit. So this year we're seeing that with LG and Samsung and probably even the iPhone. So any other phone that just has these big thick bezels is going to look horribly dated after this year, I feel like. So
yeah, it's a good point. Moto G5 and G5 Plus, did you play with those?
Those are cool. They felt weird. They felt kind of like these weird cheap Chinese phones that were just kind of whatever with like a Moto branding slapped on the back.
Well, I mean, They kind of are that.
Yeah.
I just feel like they kind of lost their, like with the previous, like the Moto just regular G series, you know, they had like the cool rubber back and it looked very Moto-ish, and like the whole design language and all that. Like now they're going to like these metal bodies with like the chamfered edges. And
I don't know though. I mean, it does have the same like style as the Moto Z.
Yeah, it's very similar.
Like the whole camera, the giant like camera circle thing on the back.
I will give you, yeah, they do have the giant camera circle. I think the design is kind of disgusting.
Disgusting.
And I've heard of some people just like when we were playing with them, you know, you hear people talking. Some people are like, these things are the ugliest phones ever, and then some people are like, what? I like them. I think they look cool. So it's like, I don't know, kind of the polarizing, I guess. The design is just weird. I think they look a little fugly, but they were nice, cheap phones. The only one worth paying attention to is was it G5 Plus?
Yeah, it's a little bit better.
And that's the only one we're gonna get here in the US. And I forget the price on it. I want to say $250, but it's gonna be right there competing with like the ZTE Blade V8 Pro and the Huawei or Honor 6X. And then spec wise, they're all very similar. The weird omission is no NFC on it, which is kind of annoying.
Yeah, only in the US. The US one won't have NFC.
I'm telling you, it will. It's this weird patent stuff, man. Kind of like how the Sony phones, like again, these new Sony phones, when they come to the US, no fingerprint sensor. And it's a little bit frustrating to see this happening because yeah, it's annoying.
So Huawei phones are kind of, to me at least, their names are confusing, and I never know like what is the new Huawei phone. Like Huawei P10 is new at MWC, right? But I swear it is like an old phone I've heard of before.
I think you're talking about the P9, which apparently, and these phones, I mean, I was talking to Nick because Nick lives in Italy, but these phones are huge in Europe. Like some of the posts that he did on the P10 are still getting like tons of traffic on Phandroid. So apparently these are all the rage over there. But I had to okay, can you explain to me what's new about the P10 and the P9, because they never come out here, so we never really know too much about them. But apparently these are like Huawei's big flagship. Kind of, they focus on like design and trying to be super sexy and fashionable, and they get like these big actors and football players to like pose all sexily with them and stuff. So it's like they're big in Europe. But P10 is the new one. I did get that phone. We went to Huawei's press event, and it was kind of madness because it was like the first 1,000 people got a P10. Like Huawei's event was crazy huge, and nobody gives out more phones than Huawei. It was just nuts to see all these press people, and they're just handing them out like candy. But the phone was nice. Tons of cool specs. They came out with some weird new lime green color, which is interesting. The phone looks like an iPhone. Let me just put it that way. It looks exactly like an iPhone. It's very hard to tell the difference. Most people that see it are just like, so the iPhone? It's like it's so similar. But they came out with a new lime green color, and again, they had some specialist come out, and she was talking about, I kid you not, for probably a half hour, she was talking about the color blue and the psychology behind it, and I dozed off. I'm not gonna lie.
Psychology behind it,
and like about like the way it makes you feel. I wish I could. Someone probably has uploaded. If you guys can find the whole press announcement thing, it was
the psychology
insane.
Of the color blue. Wow.
And I'm like getting antsy, and then I fell asleep. I wake up, she's still talking about blue, and then she goes on to green, and I was like, Nick, get me out of here, man! I can't take this anymore. And she was just going on and on about green and this and that. But I guess the cool thing about the design of these phones is there's they have a texture to the back of them. Only some of them will get it apparently, but it's like this like what do you call that? What do you there's a word for it. I feel like on the watches, remember the Moto? They had that like
rough knurled.
Yeah, it's that. But they say they're the first person to do it on a phone. I mean, everyone wants to be the first at something, and yeah, they're the first person to do it on a phone. And it's just kind of this weird. It's almost like they just got like this weird stamp and just like stamped the back. Just looks weird, and it reflects light all crazy. And it's supposed to give more texture because it's a little more rougher on your skin, and it just
That's on the P10.
Yeah, it's on the P10.
I don't really see it in the pictures.
Yeah, you're gonna have to look for the specific one that has it. So if you just look up,
like is it only a specific color or?
It's all the colors. But they have it. I know they have it on gold and blue. I'm not sure about the other colors, but gold and blue definitely have it. But not all of them. Not all the golds. Not all the blues. You would have to look for the specific.
That's really weird.
Pattern thing. And one of the guys was able to get it. I guess they were handing out some of them, and one of the guys got it, and it was just like, that is not nice. It doesn't look good at all to me. But and that's kind of, I guess, the cool thing about the phone. The phones are fast. It's just the scroll lag, which is really odd on it, is just disgusting to me. I can't handle it. So much so that I'm trying to trade this. Actually, I'm trying to trade it for a ZTE Axon 7. And I found somebody, like another guy from another website, to like trade me. So
isn't that the phone you have, Ashley?
Yeah.
Yeah. Got it. I've been really impressed by the Blade V8 Pro so much that I'm like, ooh, I wonder what a high-end ZTE would feel like. So now
that feels really nice. I think you'll enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm super hyped. But so that's the P10.
All right, so let's move on to a phone that had a way better code name than the actual official name.
Jeez.
It's the Key 1, right? BlackBerry Key 1.
Yep.
Okay. And it was called the BlackBerry Mercury, which is actually
much
cool
better.
name.
Much better.
Key 1.
And it's like stupid branding name. So like the key part is lowercase, and then the one is uppercase. Like, oh god.
Yeah.
So what do you think about the BlackBerry phone?
It looks like a BlackBerry.
It looks like a BlackBerry. It's very big, and it felt nice when we were playing with it. It felt very like high end and premium and solid. The performance, not so much. It's like, what is it powered by? It's a Snapdragon 625, I think.
625.
So that's on a $200 phone. If you guys don't know, I mean, the Honor 6X is $250. It's on that. That's on the Honor 6X. The ZTE Blade V8 Pro, it's on that one. So these are like kind of targeting more like the mid-range to low-end processor, I feel like. But it's on some $550 BlackBerry. I don't understand that part. But the keyboard, it's got a physical keyboard, like swipe gestures and shortcuts. The keyboard felt nice. I will say that. It was very, very clicky. I don't know if we're at the point where, because like, okay, so back in the day, keyboards were just kind of that, like just like a very specific function. It's just there to type. You just put in the letters.
Yeah.
Maybe the coolest feature was autocorrect, but now we're seeing like with Gboard and stuff, we've moved way past that, where like they're predicting emojis, they're automatically pulling up information, and like you
can search for GIFs.
You can search for GIFs now. So like, I think they've moved past like that whole function. Whereas like the BlackBerry, that's all it's going to do. It's just going to type in stuff.
Yeah. It's like if you're using a hardware keyboard now, you're missing out on all this other stuff.
Yeah. So that was a BlackBerry. The screen was awful on it. I'm just going to tell you right now. I threw up a little bit when I saw it. They're using the lowest end possible.
What is it, like 720p or what?
I think the resolution is okay, but it's just like it was so dull and like washed out. And then when you scroll around, like the refresh rate, like it was just like a blurry mess when you're scrolling around. I was like, just get away from me. Like, you take it, Nick. You do the video on this one. It wasn't that impressive.
All right.
Sadly.
Well, sticking with our the 90s are alive.
Right.
Nokia had a couple phones, and the most notable one was probably I don't even remember what it was called, but like the old one that everyone thinks of.
The Nokia 3310.
Yeah, a new version of that.
Yeah.
So weird.
It even has the old Snake game on it.
But like a new version of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's all colorful now and like super crazy. And some people were complaining about that. They're like, I wish they just had the old green and black.
I actually thought that exact thing when I thought I'm like, wait, so you brought this phone back because people wanted the old one, but then you changed the game that everyone wanted. Whatever.
Snake.
Yeah, it's Snake. Did you actually?
No, I didn't even get to play with it. I mean, I kept wanting to go, but it wasn't technically Android related, so we had all these other things to get to. And I had it on the list of stuff I just wanted to play with personally, but I never got the chance. And it's a dumb phone. I think it was just that's all it is. Everyone's going crazy. And it's just
doesn't
funny
it only cost like $50 though? Yeah,
super cheap. But like you're wandering the halls and there's these, giant booths of these like manufacturers you never heard of, and they got these weird phones, and you see they have a section of like dumb phones that look way sexier. I mean, they're like better built and like all this stuff, but nobody cares. Nobody's looking at those. Like, oh, it's a dumb phone. But yeah,
I actually think not dumb phones, but like feature phones, like slightly smarter dumb phones, are gonna make a comeback.
There's no way. I feel like you could just dumb down Android a little bit more. Like, they
that's what I mean. Like dumb down versions of smartphones.
But like we saw that with like say like LG or Samsung, they have like that simple launch. They call it like the simple launcher, and it's just like tiles and just like specific whatevers.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe that's as far as it'll go.
Even that though, you're still running a full version of Android, and like the value of a feature phone or something like the Nokia is that the battery life is insane. And I feel like people would be like, well, I have this phone and it, maybe it can just do like Google Maps and texting and whatnot. Like that's all I need.
Yeah, I was trying to put that together in my head too. I was like, maybe this could work. Maybe that would be cool if it just did like, it only had like a few specific core apps, and then, but I don't know. I couldn't make it work. But maybe Nokia can, I guess. I don't know.
Did they actually have some like, they did have some like actual Android phones there, right?
Yeah, they're coming back with I forget the names of them, but they were like kind of low to slightly mid-range-ish phones. I think
it's like the Nokia 3, 5, and 6. They're going with numbers.
Yeah. Didn't get a chance to play with those, but not really too interested in kind of the low end stuff. I think they had like 720p displays. And
yeah, they're pretty cheap.
Yeah, pretty low end.
All right. Anything else from MWC that stood out to you?
No. Oh, I found out they had giveaway free press lunch. I don't know if you guys ever want to attend.
That they have what?
A free press lunch. Like, okay, so all these years we've been attending, I never knew this, and Nick's only been 1 year before, but somehow he figured out all the secrets. And there's like this one area you go to, and they give you like, you get to pick between all these different types of foods. So for the past 5 years, I've been going with like Rob and Kevin and Edgar. We never knew this, so we'd always buy our own food. And like I've always complained about this every year, is all they give you there are like sandwich. It's just like a piece of hard bread with like a thinly sliced ham, dried ham in the middle. And it was just like, this is awful. I felt so like just deprived. But
yeah, because at CES they do that too, where you get like to choose.
You get a nice little big lunch, and you get to choose between different ones. And they do the same thing there, but it's like these like hot lunches, and it's a plate with all these different types of foods and all kinds of stuff. And we had no idea. It's crazy. That's it.
Chris and his lunch.
Good to know. All right, so we do have a couple little news things that we'll talk about this week. YouTube TV. What do you guys think about this?
I mean, I knew they were going here with all the focus on original content, but
yeah, I am a lot. It is weird. Like I saw so many people like YouTube is gonna kill cable and YouTube is gonna kill TV and like this is a game changer and all this stuff, and I'm just like, PlayStation View has like the same package with better channels for the same price.
Yeah. Like I was interested, and then I saw the channels and all that stuff, and it was just like, I'll keep an eye on it. But other than that, I don't think I'm gonna rush out to sign up. Not at all.
So if anyone doesn't know, the channels, it has like 30 some channels, I believe. And it's mainly like Disney properties. So ESPN, Disney Channel, Disney XD, stuff like that. And then there's also some like Fox sports channels, sci-fi, stuff like that. But they really don't have a lot of the major networks. So like Viacom, Turner, Discovery, they don't have any of those channels, which are like some of the most popular cable channels out there. But I guess the benefit to this is you get YouTube Red included.
That is kind of nice.
Oh, and it's $35. I should mention $35 per month.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess, and then with YouTube Red, you get Google Play Music All Access and stuff.
So by comparison, PlayStation Vue has a channel. They have like 4 different tiers, but one of their tiers is $35. That's the one that I have right now, and it does have those major networks like Turner. So you get, TBS, TNT. It does have Discovery. You get Discovery Channel.
So it's more comparable to Sling.
Yeah, and Sling is the cheapest. That they have a $20 channel, which includes ESPN and stuff too. So like, the YouTube TV is not really winning on price. It's not really winning on channels. It's basically winning on the YouTube name.
Mm-hmm.
I guess just being tied in with all the YouTube stuff.
Yeah,
it's like a tab over to live channels or something.
So this is something I'm really interested in. I've tried both PlayStation Vue and Sling TV now. So if anyone listening is interested, I did a post on Phandroid where I like went through all the channels, like the exclusive channels that each one has, comparing YouTube TV, PlayStation Vue, Sling TV, and DirecTV Now, and like comparing all the different features. So check that out if you're trying to decide on one of these. But the cool thing is too about all these services is you just pay month to month. So like you can do a free trial or just pay for like 1 month of one of them and then cancel, try a different one. So that's pretty cool. I think they all pretty much offer the free trials. Like I know Sling TV and PlayStation Vue have a week free trial that you can try. So
yeah.
All right. Google Assistant is also rolling out to more phones. I keep trying to see if I have it on my.
I have it on my Axon 7.
Oh.
What do you like? What happens when you get it? Like, does it just like a server side switch? All of a sudden you have it?
No, you just hold down the button and it'll pop up like a Google Now window will pop up. But instead of it being Google Now, it'll say, "Congratulations, you have Google Assistant."
But like, did you have an app update, or did that just like all of a sudden?
No, it just changed when I pushed the button.
Yeah, so because I keep like pressing that button to see if I have it, and like I don't have it yet.
It's like already there and waiting for. I mean, technically, it's kind of there for everybody, but it's just what you're waiting on Google.
Yeah, server side rollout.
I'm impatient, and when it comes, I'll probably never use it because I don't use the voice search stuff that much.
I hate the voice search. I just want to say that. Maybe it's because my speech is all slurred, but I mumble a lot. But I never quite. I just it's frustrating. And then I usually replace like the home button, the long press home button thing with like other services and stuff. So don't really use that feature.
I used to use it on my phone a lot, but now that I have a Google Home, I just talk to it.
All right. So instead of Throwback Thursday this week, we got an email that I'm going to go through right now because I thought it was a good topic to talk about, and it's kind of a long email, so bear with me for a little bit here. This is from Gary the Life of, who is a frequent commenter on Phandroid. My voice just cracked like I was going through puberty there. All right, so he says, you guys have probably seen me a couple of other folks talking of the merits of capacitive buttons across many of your articles. I believe there's 2 camps on this topic, for and against them. Using Samsung phones for such a long time has really gotten me so addicted to having my navigation buttons on the bottom bezel and out of the way of the display. I discovered this deep preference after using some LG, Sony, and Motorola phones alongside my Samsung phone. The software buttons just got in the way too much, popping up when I wouldn't need them. Just as annoying, I'd also have to touch away at another part of the display to bring them up again.
Yes!
With my capacitive buttons, they're always there when I need them, and they're always out of the way when I don't. Look at so many flagships out there with larger bottom bezels. It seems using that space for some capacitive buttons would be more useful. But now we're finally seeing manufacturers listening to us about the size of the bezels by cutting the fat. What's not so good about this trend is Samsung is following along with a bit more extreme measure by ditching capacitive buttons altogether. Last paragraph. I know eventually these companies will force you to adapt to big changes they make on the designs, and I'm afraid I'll have to do just that. There's no word yet if this new design change from Samsung's S line will carry over to their next Note device, but if it does, I'll just have to learn to live with it. I wish I didn't, because there's still others who find them useful. The OnePlus 3T being an important flagship that still uses them. I'd consider replacing my Note 5 with the phone as my daily driver, but just to entrench inside the greater Samsung ecosystem. So where do you guys stand on this? Are you for or against the capacitive buttons?
I'm right there with Gary. Yeah, he just read my mind completely.
Yeah, it sounds like things you've said before on this podcast.
100%. I think I hate software buttons every time they disappear on me, and I have to swipe up to, like, I don't know if there's a swipe up gesture or you tap somewhere else to bring them up, but it's like it never works right. And even if you swipe up to try to like make them appear, it always interacts with whatever the heck is on the screen at the time. So if I swipe up, I'll hit a link, or I'll like tap someone's profile, like freaking, or it like takes me out of like a video because I tapped out of a video. It is the most infuriating thing. Like every single time, I was going to rant about it on Twitter the other day because I was just like, I hate them. I hate them so much. I'm all about the capacitive. So yeah, right there with Gary.
Ashley.
I'm using a phone with capacitive buttons right now, and I like it a lot, but I don't know that I have a preference. I kind of feel like the buttons are going to be like a hardware keyboard in a while, and they're all going to disappear, and we're all just going to have software buttons to deal with because the software buttons can be changed.
They can be changed, but they rarely ever are, and they rarely ever give you enough options to change, like to put some cool stuff down there. I wouldn't mind being able to fully customize what's at the bottom there, like a little toolbar.
What if like the V30, instead of having a screen on top, the screen was just capacitive buttons that you could make do whatever? Like,
oh.
I mean, you kind of can do that on LG phones. They actually do let you change the buttons down there, and you can add like a button that pulls down the notification shade.
Yeah. Those are okay, but again, it's still pretty limited on what they allow you to do. Yeah. And that's supposed to be the whole appeal of software buttons back when they first showed up. I was 100% against them because it was like on the Nexus 4 is when they finally did. It was just like because the bezel was so thick on the bottom, like just put the capacitive, give me some more screen real estate. And people were like, well, they disappear when you're watching video. I don't want them to disappear because how do I go home now? And I gotta do an extra. I gotta tap them again just to make them pull up. I'm doing extra taps now. It's infuriating. It's frustrating. I hate it. I hate them. I hate them so much.
I have always been on the software buttons side. But actually, my reasoning for it has kind of changed. Like at first, I kind of was like, Ashley, it's more flexible. They can move, and that's like still cool. But now, one thing that I noticed when I use Samsung phones is, sure, having the use of space, but I don't like them there because I actually find them harder to reach because they're they're so far on the bottom of the phone that you have to reach your thumb all the way down there to touch them. I like them being a little bit higher up on the display. I find it easier to touch them there. So
I'm curious to see hear what Gary's thoughts are on, because right now, like, I guess the big argument is all these phones have these giant, huge bezels at the bottom. Why not put it to use with capacitive? But what about when the phones finally get rid of bezels completely? Like, we're seeing them shrink. Eventually, they're going to go away. So would he prefer software? I mean, I guess you can't have a capacitive button at that point, but yeah,
he did mention that a little bit about how Samsung's doing it, the capacitor or the software buttons now that they have, zero bezel, and he said that he wasn't a big fan of that. But really, to me, I guess I don't see why you wouldn't be a fan of that, because they're going to be practically in the same spot as before, because there's so little bezel.
You know what I like a lot, and hate to admit it, but I like the gestures on iOS, how you go back. There's no, like, because iOS has been doing no back button, no recent button forever.
Yeah.
They just have one big home button. But like to go back on iOS, you just swipe from the side bezel or the side of the screen. It is the most awesome feature, I think. And I was wishing or hoping, Google or somebody would adopt that soon in Android, but still waiting on that one.
I have not used this iPhone that I've had very often, and I don't like most things about it, but I will say that is one thing that I do like. Yeah.
It is really, really cool. So like I could see a future where, there is just maybe like a home button and we don't really need the recents and back. Just need that one little button. But I love when a manufacturer gives you the option though. Like if you like software, fine. Here, you can go in the settings, just enable it. Whatever, fine. But you don't see that too often.
The ZTE has capacitive buttons, but they give you the option to switch them if you prefer the way that Samsung has their buttons.
Oh yeah, you can even swap them around. So if you want the functions to be a little bit different, and then like on the OnePlus and some of these other phones, you can pull up the software keys if you want software keys. So just give people the option. Great.
All right. Well, thank you for your email, Gary. If anyone else wants to email us, our address is podcast@phandroid.com. So wins and fails of the week. I'm going to talk about some Bluetooth headphones that I got. I got 2 pairs of Bluetooth headphones here from Anker, who everyone knows they make really affordable tech accessories. I have a sport model, which are like they hook over your ear and they have like more of a rigid band that goes around your neck, and they're really comfortable. And then like a more traditional pair here that are like a thinner wire, and they just drape around your neck, but they're magnetic, which is really cool. So you can like wear them like a necklace. They just like hook together when they're not in use. So this one, the Slim, only costs $20.
Oh,
and then the Sport one only costs $40. They're super affordable Bluetooth headphones, and I posted a review on them today, and I'm pretty impressed with them. Like I said, the Sport ones are like ridiculously comfortable to wear. They have this little band in the back here that like you can adjust to get the fit around your neck really tight, and when you have these on, you can like swing your head like you just don't care, and they do not budge at all. These ones are a little bit more loose. They do have like the little wing things, I guess you could call them, that like kind of hook in your ear a little bit. But they're not as stable. But I really like these. I've tried a few Bluetooth headphones now. I had like a pair of $250 ones that I reviewed a little while ago, and these ones like don't sound that much worse, and they cost like so much less. It's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
So yeah, then that kind of leads into my negative thing though, is that since I have used a couple different styles of Bluetooth headphones now, I guess if you guys have used them, maybe you can corroborate this. I asked about it on Twitter, and a few people agreed with me, but it seems like all Bluetooth headphones you'll hear like a slight white noise in the background.
Yes, I have that on the set that I have that I run with.
Yeah, and so like when I had that on the $250 headphones, I was like, what the heck? This sucks. Like these cost a lot. This shouldn't be this. And then when I tried these, same thing, and I was like, oh, what the heck?
Is it interference, or when your phone is charging, or
no? It's like
it's just like all the, I want to say all the time. Really,
yeah. Whenever audio is playing, you'll hear this slight like white noise like hiss static sound in the background.
You know, like the sound of an old TV when it had snow on it. Like if it's turned down really, really low, like that sound.
Yeah, and like it's not noticeable too much when you're listening to music, but I listen to podcasts like almost entirely.
Oh yeah.
And so I notice it a lot when I'm listening to podcasts. And apparently it's just a Bluetooth problem. So it really sucks. But The weird thing about these headphones is, so like the sport model has a 12 millimeter driver. So these ones are like louder and clearer. So they're better for music. But since they're louder, that hiss in the background is more noticeable when listening to podcasts. So I actually end up wearing the slim ones more because these only have a 6 millimeter driver. So they're not as loud. And so you don't notice it nearly as much. But it kind of sucks because like the sport ones are so much more comfortable. But yeah, that's my fail, because I guess it's just like a Bluetooth headphone issue. And it's weird because I don't see many people mention it, but yet when I, asked about it on Twitter, and now Ashley, you're saying the same thing, like everyone admits that it is a thing. Mm-hmm. But like I never heard anyone mention it in like AirPod reviews or, I'll like those Jaybird headphone reviews. Like no one ever mentions it.
I never knew it existed.
Just listen to music though, like you said, music disguises it really well.
Yeah, music does disguise it pretty well. But
I do know that I hear a lot from like people who are all about headphones and all audiophile people or whatever, but they just talk about how they're like, oh yeah, all Bluetooth headphones suck, but these are better than those and this and that. And I never understood like why they keep saying. I know the audio quality is not as nice, but maybe that's also why they all that weird hissing.
Yeah, and like I am not an audiophile by any stretch. And these headphones I'm wearing right now in this video are $19 from mono price. I don't think I've ever paid more than like $30 for headphones. So if I'm noticing it, pretty much everyone's going to notice it. I think.
I have some little, what is it, skull candy, the little like padded ones that go on the ear. I've never heard, but I mean, I listen to music on it, so.
Yeah, I think that must be what it is. It's just that so much more people listen to music rather than like podcasts that it doesn't bother them.
Yeah, I do need a decent pair of wireless. I was thinking that, I never needed them. But then on my plane to Mobile Congress or Barcelona or whatever, there was so many times where I was like getting tangled up in my wires and like things would get snagged on them and it's like ripping them out of my ear and this and that. And I was just like, man, I really need some nice wireless
I would
headphones.
definitely recommend these. And like they have a couple other models of Bluetooth headphones too. So, and they're all really affordable. So I would definitely say check those out.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
All right. Chris, what do you got?
My wins and fails is going to be the Switch. I don't know if you guys heard, but Nintendo has a new system that just came out.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I pre-ordered the Nintendo Switch. It's kind of awesome.
I want to ask you though, like, were you excited about the Switch before you got it?
Oh yeah, 100%. I was sold on it. Just because, okay, for me, Nintendo has a reputation of delivering kind of underpowered, like for their handhelds. They're always like 5 generations, but I don't even know how many generations back. But the hardware is always super, super old. And with the 3DS, things are getting, up there. The 3D graphics look great, but the resolution is just so hideously awful.
Yeah, it's like 240p.
It's like the worst thing. And like it's funny because the graphics are pretty nice. The 3D graphics are pretty nice on a 3DS. It's just the resolution that's awful. They have these PC emulators, and if you look at those, when they bump up the resolution, like Pokemon Sun and Moon look freaking awesome. When you just, they're in 1080p or 720p, whatever. So the Switch was great because it's a big boy handheld, and I'm a big boy now. I can pay the extra money. I never thought I would see the day that Nintendo would do this, and it's kind of like this weird hybrid console. You can plug it in your TV if you want a little extra, power or resolution. So I've been sold on the Switch for this entire time, but yeah. So that's my win. The Switch is here. It's awesome. Zelda is everything I hoped it would be. It's great. But there's so many downsides to the Switch. For one, I mean, the display is plastic and people are scratching it when they're putting it in the dock. My glass screen protectors are barely arriving today. So I've been babying this thing.
They're out of stock for like 2 months on Amazon. So if you hadn't gotten one now, like people are making little cozies to put over their dock because they don't scratch their screen.
A little cozy over. That's what I have right now. I got a little foam piece and just wrapped it around, and hoping it won't scratch the screen. But yeah, and then my screen protectors that I originally ordered got back ordered for 2 months, and I was like, F this. So I had to find someone else that was doing Prime 2-day shipping, and then it took them about a week, but now they're finally coming, and I won't even take my Switch outdoors, not yet, not until I get a screen protector on it. But the controller just kind of bothers me. That's kind of my fail. The controller, the stupid port placement. They have a USB Type-C port on the bottom, which is kind of annoying. I was arguing with some people on Nintendo yesterday for a good while. And people were just like, well, where else would you put the port? Where would you put the port, big guy? And you can put it anywhere. You can put it at the top, and then well, then how do you dock it? And you could just use pin connectors like any other device. I mean, or even you can put pin connectors in the back and just have that charge it while it's in tabletop mode. And there's all these different ways they could have tackled it, and it just seems very poorly planned. I feel like the Switch is a little bit rushed. And there's always a fine line between you want to announce something, get it out to the public as quickly as possible and not delay it. But at the same time, you don't want to rush it, because if those same people get a defective product, they're going to be all pissed off. And there's all these problems and issues some people are having with it. The controller connectivity, and it's kind of, I wouldn't say like a shiznit show. But I feel like it almost kind of is. There's so much more the Switch could be, but this is just a first release, and I kind of feel like maybe we'll see. They'll do maybe like the updated hardware thing, maybe like halfway into its life cycle, kind of like with the PS4 Pro and the Xbox, whatever. Maybe we'll see like a slightly revised.
Nintendo does that anyway. They did it with the Nintendo 3DS. Now there's the new Nintendo 3DS.
Yeah, so it would be great if they somewhere down the line they did a Switch Pro, and it with the glass display, and I don't know. Now the port's on the top because we're not stupid anymore. Just weird stuff like that. So there are some flaws. There's a lot of flaws. Let's be honest, but Zelda's great, and I think the system overall is still a great idea. The hybrid console thing is awesome. So I'm extremely, extremely happy with mine still. Much as I hate it, but that's how it is with a lot of things these days. So
that's just Chris's life.
Yeah.
All right, Ashley, and looks like you have some more words about the Switch.
I'm not going to gush quite as much as Chris did, but I wasn't thrilled with, I was not excited about the Switch at all. The Wii U I was bored with, and I was like, the Switch just looks like more of the same. I got it, and I started playing Breath of the Wild and was blown away, so it's pretty great.
So you're blown away by the game or by the console?
The concept of the console, if I can take Pokemon and Monster Hunter and all those to go, it's great. I don't have... The controller does have connection issues, but as for the size of the controllers, they're perfect for my hands. I know a lot of people are complaining about them being too small, but they fit in my hands great. I like them.
little baby controller. I gotta it's so hard to use.
Yeah, I'm pleased.
Yeah, it's I've heard quite a bit about the Switch. I'm not a gamer. I don't have one, but it seems like what I've heard the most is that the Zelda game is awesome, and the Switch is just okay.
The Switch, there's so much potential there. Honestly, I feel like a beta tester for new. I feel like a beta tester for new hardware, because you're I see the potential you've got going here, but there's a lot of improvements you could make.
Good idea.
You have one game to play on it, so
that is so fun. I went to my friends were throwing a Nintendo Switch party, and they had 1-2 Switch and Zelda, because those are kind of the only games. I think they also downloaded Bomberman, but it was funny because we all go there and they had all the little treats and all kinds of stuff, and we're playing the 1-2 Switch for maybe 15 minutes, I'd say. And then someone busts out their Wii U, and then for the rest of it's 5 a.m, we're playing Mario Kart and all the Wii U games, all the fun party games on Wii U, and it just turned into a Wii U party. So
they really need a new Mario Kart game.
Yeah, it's coming. It's
just not ready yet.
Yeah.
Get your stuff together, Nintendo. Come on.
For real. But I will say that my favorite part about the Switch is just how easy it is to just pick up and play. The Wii U is always frustrating because I feel like you got to turn it on.
It takes forever. It's laggy. The Switch, you drop it in the dock and it's on the TV.
Yeah, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, it's really fast, speedy.
Wake it up. I save a game. The game saves almost instantly. I mean, everything feels so fast on it, and I think that's
That's the biggest thing for me, like going from using the Wii U to the laggy interface to the Switch, and there's no lag. You're like, holy crap, this feels great to use.
Nobody talks about that. And I mean, I've been in the like Switch whatever Reddits and some of the stuff where people like I'm subscribed to a Wii U Reddit, and then they're just all like, well, it's not that big of an upgrade. Like, you guys don't know. You don't know what you're missing. Yeah, like it's so much better. So much better hardware. So yeah, whatever.
All right. Fail, Ashley?
Yeah, this is just an unsubstantiated rumor, but there's rumors that the Pixel 2 won't have a headphone jack, and if that's true, that's kind of eh.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Hopefully that's not true. Hopefully that's maybe something Google leaked out or something. I mean, I don't see Google leaking this, but like to kind of gauge people's feedback on it. But the most annoying part about having a Moto Z and an iPhone as my dailies is that when I get into the car and I'm like, son of a gun, and then all my headphones that I have and then Bluetooth headphones aren't that great, as Joe pointed out. It's just I don't know.
Yeah.
You need the jack.
You do. Like, even as much as I like these, it is an absolute deal breaker for me.
Yeah. I recently purchased, what is it, like the little Bluetooth dongle receivers that you can put in your car. So I just plug the aux into that now, and we kind of get my girlfriend used to that whole thing. So that's been kind of nice. But I mean, I hear the audio quality difference in the car. It's like, it's not quite as nice.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's do some app picks. I'm going to recommend an app called Volume Slider, which is pretty nifty. It puts the volume controls on the edge of your display. All you have to do is slide your finger up and down on the very edge of your display, and you can even choose what volume that will control. So like media, notifications, alarms, etc. And if you buy the Pro model, you can like have different edges of your display control different volume. So like maybe the left side does the media volume, the right side does the notification volume. Pretty cool. It works super well. You can like delay it a little bit. So if you like are accidentally adjusting your volume a lot just by touching the edge of the screen, you can like put a little delay on it so it doesn't do it immediately. Really well thought out app. I featured it in my top 5 apps and games of the week last week. If you want to check it out, but it's called Volume Slider, one word. Pretty cool. If you like broke your volume buttons, this would be like a godsend. This app would.
Yeah, and not that happens very often, but I do have a friend who broke his volume buttons.
Yeah, or if just like they're in an annoying spot that you don't find easy to reach with your like finger or hand or whatever, this would be pretty cool too. So check it out. Chris, do you have one, or should we skip you for the time being?
Yeah, skip me for the time being.
Okay.
My app for this week is going to be called Swiftly Switch. It is a multitasking menu that just comes out from the side of your screen. It's like a little half moon circle that you can either set it to show your most recently used apps, or you can set it to show apps of your choosing. If you go right now, like right at this instant, I think it only lasts for like 3 more hours, you can get the Pro version for free on the Play Store. But there is a free version. It'll be $1.99 after that promotion ends.
You need to watch my top 5 apps and games videos, Ashley.
Do I?
You keep recommending apps that are in them, so I think you would find some good apps.
Yeah.
Videos. Yeah, this one was a long time ago though. But yeah, I remember this app. It is pretty cool.
I like it because if you have a big phone and you don't like to reach around, you can set I think you can set it up to do your navigation buttons too. So if you want to reach to the bottom of your screen, you can have it be your navigation buttons on the side.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for those like edge screen apps. I don't know. It's just, I think it's a cool thing that you can do on Android.
I like that it changes the way Android works, so something to experiment with.
Chris, did you find anything?
I will, maybe, I don't know if I've mentioned it before. I don't think I have, but, or maybe anyone has. I've been looking for one of those universal copy anything on your screen apps. And yesterday I downloaded like 5 different ones.
What What do you mean by copy anything on your screen?
Like say you're in Twitter or you're on Reddit and you want to copy like just some text that like somebody put, like today I learned blah 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 blah, and you want to copy that. You can copy anything, any kind of text.
The app doesn't support like long press copy.
Yeah, like there's very few that do that. Like, so there's a lot of apps. There's something you'll be in, and it's just like there's a big old thing of text, and you're just like, man, I wish I could just copy this and just paste it somewhere. I was trying all these different apps and all these different ones people are recommending, and most of them are really glitchy and annoying. But the one that I'm using is called Universal Copy, and it's kind of awesome. It works absolutely perfect. I've had like 0 issues with it, and basically you just either tap the notification or you can map the home button with a long press, and it'll scan your screen, and then you can tap wherever the text is and it'll highlight it, and then you could immediately just copy it. It's like so painless and easy to use. And there's a bunch of different apps that kind of do something similar, but none that are as like user friendly and simple, dead simple as this one. So
this is like a testament to how little people use Google Now on Tap, because Google Now on Tap can do that.
Yeah. Does it copy text?
Yeah. Like when you long press and then there's that little finger icon.
Yeah.
Screen. When you tap that, it like pulls the entire screenshot back, and you can tap anywhere to copy the text on the screen.
So that they're just copying that then.
But now with Assistant, I mean, not going to be able to do that anymore.
Yeah, you can't do it. I can't do it on my Pixel because it just pulls up Assistant. So it's kind of it's gone. I mean, I guess I could do it on an old phone, but once everybody gets Assistant, I guess you're not going to have that secret feature
that no one used.
That nobody even. That's crazy. I had no idea. I tried out.
All right. I think that's going to wrap things up for this week. We already went over our email question. But again, if you'd like to send us emails, our address is podcast@phandroid.com. We also have a Twitter account @MobileRoarcast, where you can hit us up there. And I think that's it. We'll be back in a couple weeks. You can subscribe to the audio version on Google Play Music, TuneIn, Stitcher Radio, iTunes, whatever your favorite app is. Leave us a review if you subscribe to us there. And we are on Twitter. Chris is @GamerCore. Ashley is @Overlord Roar. I am @Tall Schmo. Hopefully we didn't spread any fake news this week. See you guys.
Later.
Just say no.